Block just reported earnings that came in better than expected. So we had an EPS beat of 6 cents. We had a revenue beat of $190 million. So these numbers came in better than expected. Awesome to see there. So on the face of things, this is definitely a good report. We're seeing Square stock up almost 20% after hours. So this is definitely, by all means, a good earnings report. What I'll do in this video is I'll go over everything you need to know about this stock. I'll go over everything with this earnings call. And at the end of the video, I will give you a price prediction based on technical analysis. So with that being said, let's talk about it. So in the third quarter of 2023, Square generated gross profit of $1.9 billion, up 21% year over year. Cash App generated gross profit of $484 million, up 27% year over year, and Square generated gross profit of $900 million, up 15% year over year. You can see those charts there. We can see Square's gross profit has been moving in the right direction, but we're still reporting a net income, or excuse me, a net loss of $29 million. So this company ain't profitable. Definitely want to make that known, but we're seeing things move in the right directions. We're seeing gross profit margins at 21%, which unfortunately, isn't the best number. Or excuse me, that's not gross profit margin. We're seeing a gross profit margin of 15%. So not the best number there, but let's keep it moving here. So Cash App reached 22 million monthly active users as of September, and 30% of those transactioning are doing transactions on any given day. In the third quarter, we originated over $900 million in short-term loans and had more than 2 million Cash App borrow monthly activities as of September. In October, we started offering autosave paychecks and paychecks that are allowing customers to automatically save a percentage of each direct deposited paycheck across savings, stocks, Bitcoin, or their stored balance. As of September, we had more than 2 million Cash App monthly activities, doubling since June. So definitely seeing Cash App volumes really spike up here compared to kind of the rest of 2023. We can see this chart. I'll zoom in here so you can see it. We can see this chart looking very solid for Cash App. So good to see that payment volumes are spiking a bit. And then the Square ecosystem. So Square has connected sellers and buyers to create nearly 500,000 bookings through Square Go in the third quarter since launch, and week over week bookings continue to increase through the same. Enabling multi-year contracts terms empowers our sales team to bring sellers into the ecosystem, which allows us to provide competitive upfront discounts and guarantee results to investors, or excuse me, to sellers. And just for those that don't know, in the third quarter, Square launched Square Go, a customer app that provides a marketplace of local beauty and personal care sellers that use the Square platform. So, your person who's doing their own hair service, right? Or they're doing their own nails, they're coming to people's houses, or people come in and they come into their own store and they do the nails, they do their hair. So that's a pretty cool business. It's definitely a business that was already kind of on Square, so it makes sense to kind of go after that market. I think that's a really good idea. And then during the third quarter, Square introduced Square for franchises to serve those complex sellers and expand our serviceable market. And then in October, Square launched several new AI features dedicated to help sellers automate operations, speed up workflows, and regain time. AI being a very flashy word in the stock market right now. You pretty much throw AI on any investor pitch deck, and you're going to see the multiples in investors would typically pay go up. So that's good to see that they're kind of jumping into AI. I think that's smart. And then during the third quarter, we launched Tap to Pay on Android in Japan and Canada, joining 6 other countries across Australia, Europe, and the UK and the US. And then financial, let's talk a little bit more about the finances. So we can see here that gross profit is climbing. So good to see that there. And this is Bitcoin gross profit of 45 million in the third quarter of 2023. The total sale amount of Bitcoin sold to customers, which we recognize as Bitcoin revenues, was 2.4 billion. Bitcoin gross profit was 2% of Bitcoin revenue. And then Square ecosystem revenue and gross profit. So in the third quarter of 2023, Square generated 1.98 billion of revenue and 900 million in gross profit, up 12% and 15% over the year, respectively. Our buy now, pay later platform contributed 129 million of revenue and 940 million of gross profit to Square in the third quarter of 2023. And we can see Square's gross payment volume saw a tick up in Q3. We're actually seeing yearly highs. So the highest we've seen in the past 4 quarters. So good to see there. And then Square's GPV in our US market grew 9%. So gross payment volume up 9% in the US. And the international markets are starting to really adopt Square. We saw 28% growth year over year. And then in terms of verticals, on a year-over-year basis, food and drink gross payment volume was up 16%. Gross payment volume for services verticals was up 8%, and retail gross payment volume was up 7%. And then acquisition and retention. So Square achieved positive growth in acquisition of new sellers. Retention of existing sellers is a function of churn and GPV per seller. And then gross profit in gross profit in markets outside the US jumping as well. So we're really seeing Square kind of be adopted more globally, and we're definitely seeing that in those gross profits as well. And then Cash App inflows framework. So 55 million activities, and then roughly $1,000 inflows per activity, and a 1.43 monetization rate. So good to see that there. Cash App inflows, we can see, was at 62 billion for Q3, roughly right in line with where we were in Q2. And then just once again to talk about these Cash App generated Bitcoin gross profit was up 22% year over year. The total sale amount of Bitcoin sold to customers, which we recognize as Bitcoin revenue, was 2.4 billion, up 37% year over year. So this is all pretty good stuff here. Obviously, earnings-wise, the company still has an operating loss of roughly $10 million and adjusted operating income of $90 million. So adjusted EBITDA, though, of roughly $477 million, which is actually above where we were over the past 4 quarters. So good to see that there. Awesome improvement in adjusted EBITDA. Lovely to see. And then the company ended the third quarter of 2023 with 8.1 billion in available liquidity, 7.3 billion in cash. In this kind of uncertain environment, to have a strong cash holding is important. And then they had cash equivalents, restricted cash, and investments in marketable debt securities, as well as at 775 million available to be withdrawn from our revolving credit facility. Additionally, Square had 1.7 billion available to be withdrawn under our warehouse funding facilities to support funding of a later platform. This report is definitely a very positive one for this company. Very excited for Square, right? I mean, this is definitely a company that obviously is in a bit of a speculative time right now, right? We're still looking to move towards profitability, and really, given the rising rate environment that we have seen, that's really been the reason why we've seen Block move so much lower and really been underperforming the broader market for the past couple months, has been just because of the environment that we're in, right? The higher for longer camp, the higher interest rate reality that we're living in is really just a tough one for companies looking for capital that aren't actually profitable at this point in time. So with that being said, let's take a look at the chart and give a price prediction for the stock. So right now we can see that shares are moving up to this resistance level after hours. The question is, will we break through this resistance level? And just so you know, this resistance level sits at $51. This level is where shares had bottomed in October of 2022. So we're coming up to test this resistance level. Unfortunately, I think we probably see some consolidation for Square around this level. Not saying that Square couldn't, move higher in the long term, just we're kind of facing a major level of resistance at around $51. So be on the lookout for that. We could see somewhat of a rejection, consolidation, sideways trading, call it what you want, but I do believe we'll probably see Square kind of top out at this $51 level in the short. So that's kind of what I'm seeing from the stock from a technical standpoint. Obviously, like I said, the stock could move much higher over the coming years. I think it's really a good stock to own. I think it's undervalued. So definitely nothing that is really scaring me with this stock. But it is worth noting that there are some issues, right? So there's still some issues in this company, obviously. Net income is obviously negative, but it's good to see positive EPS, right? So at the end of the day, this company is still in the speculative stage, still in early stages, still early innings for this company. I think Square has a long-term opportunity to win in the fintech space. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you here next time. To learn more about the financial markets, well, I just released a new course that will teach you everything you need to know about the stock and option markets. You can find that at happyinvestingtoday.com. Also on the site, you can purchase one-on-one coaching sessions where I will break down your portfolio to help optimize your assets to meet your personal financial goals. Additionally, to better assist traders when searching for setups, I'm selling trading bots, which will give you buy and sell signals and tell you how your trading strategy has performed historically on any stock or cryptocurrency that you're researching. Finally, if you would also like to see what me and my experienced trading team are doing on a day-to-day basis, join our Discord, which is linked below, for a free 7-day trial. With that being said, please leave a like and subscribe. Appreciate you watching this video.